the GM Old Look Transit Bus. 38,000 were built in the US between 1940 and 1969. But far away, the Soviet Union, which was enamored with this type of bus, decided to build their own. Was it a case of fakery, flattery, or an official copy? This is the story of the ZIS 154, the bus with a never-ending controversy. Hi, this is Jeffrey. Now, if you have any interest in American transit buses, you might be familiar with the GM Old Look bus. Tens of thousands of them were produced until the late 1960s. Now, in the Soviet Union, they had a very, very big interest in American buses, and they even tried to develop their own version of a Greyhound bus. Now, it wasn't any copy of a specific American bus, but in the late 1940s, they actually tried to copy an American Old Look bus. Now, was this bus that was called the ZIS 154 an official copy, or was it some sort of an unlicensed fake? Well, we're going to try and answer those questions. So let's get started in learning about the ZIS 154 Soviet transit bus. Imitation is often the sincerest form of flattery. Such was the case with a Soviet post-war bus. The ZIS 154 city bus, which appeared almost immediately after the war, was a real breakthrough in Russian bus manufacturing and a big step up from the previous model, the old-fashioned style ZIS 16. For its time, the new model simply gushed with technical innovations. The wagon-style layout, the all-metal load-bearing body, the rear-mounted power unit, a diesel rather than a gasoline engine, 2 automatic passenger doors, and an adjustable driver's seat. All this was a novelty for mass-produced Soviet buses of that time. But most importantly, the vehicle received an electric transmission. A 50-kilowatt DC generator was coupled with the diesel engine, which generated current for the electric motor, which in turn transmitted torque to the drive axle. The diesel-electric power unit turned out to be quite compact, thanks to which it was possible to place a 5-seater seat in the cabin above the engine compartment along the entire rear wall of the body. The first prototype was built in 1946. In early July 1947, the Moscow bus depots received the first 7 buses, and then production began. 80 buses in 1947, 404 in 1948, 472 in 1949, and 207 in 1950. In total, 1,165 ZIS 154 buses were built. Supposedly, the first 75 were equipped with American Detroit diesel engines. However, due to the Cold War, these could no longer be obtained. The Soviet diesel engine that was put into production at that time turned out to be incomplete in terms of exhaust emissions, causing smoke and odor problems and poor reliability, as well as heavy criticism. In addition, operators accustomed to maximum simplicity were not ready to handle such a vehicle, which led to a fairly rapid withdrawal from production in 1950. The last batch of buses was forced to be equipped with turbocharged carburetor ZIS 110F engines borrowed from limousines with 105 horsepower. Now, let's take a look at some of the basic specifications of the Soviet ZIS 154 bus. Number 1, length is 9.5 meters. Number 2, width is 2.5 meters. Number 3, height is 2.94 meters. Number 4, weight is 12.3 tons. Number 5, the engine for most of the buses is the two-stroke 112 horsepower YAAZ-204D. Number 6, passenger capacity is 60 with 34 seated. And finally, number 7, top speed is 65 kilometers per hour. Passengers really liked the new bus compared to pre-war models, especially thanks to the convenient wide opening of the doors and the very smooth and comfortable ride. The spring suspension absorbed bumps well, and the bus did not shake, even on bad roads. The bus also received good reviews due to its excellent heating, ventilation, as well as lighting during the day and night due to the large glass area. Drivers were very satisfied with the ease of operation. There was no need for a gearbox or clutch to change gears, and the direction of travel, forward and backward, was determined by a small lever to the left of the driver. Driving it was pleasant and reduced driver fatigue. However, the bus was very noisy. It hummed noisily when starting, the diesel engine roared loudly in the rear cabin, and it was slow to gain speed. But in general, it was incomparably more convenient and comfortable compared to pre-war models. The ZIS 154s were withdrawn from Moscow routes in the first half of the 1950s. Some buses were then reallocated to other cities and operated on bus routes until the end of the 1960s. But now for the big question: is the ZIS 154 an official American copy of one of their buses? Several sources, especially English-language Wikipedia bus pages, state without citation that it was produced under license from General Motors, allegedly as a variant of the TDH 3610 bus, with modifications and adaptations for Soviet production. In fact, there is no written evidence of this, and my own communication with a Soviet bus enthusiast also provided information that this was not the case. The design and structural elements of the bus could be reproduced in whole or in part without purchasing a license. As for American copies, it is known that an American yellow coach bus was brought to the Tushin engineering plant to create a similar design for the MTB-82 trolley bus. But that's another story. The replacement for the ZIS 154 was the easier to manufacture but less bulky 8-meter ZIS 155, which used elements of the ZIS 154 body and parts of the ZIS 150 truck. Currently, there is only one working restored ZIS 154 in the museum collection of the State Unitary Enterprise Moscow-Trans. It was discovered in 1992 at a summer cottage in Mytichi near Moscow. It was restored over 4 years and put into operation in 1996. So while the ZIS 154 is not an official copy of a GM Old Look bus, its tribute to it surely proves that imitation certainly is the sincerest form of flattery, even if it's your adversary. So there it is, the story of the ZIS 154, the bus that was at the center of one of the biggest bus controversies in the history of buses. Now, you can call it what you want, a fake, an imitation, etc., etc., but we have now put it to rest that the ZIS 154 was not an official licensed copy of a GM Old Look transit bus as what is stated in Wikipedia. It is not. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at the ZIS 154 Soviet transit bus. And as always, thank you so much for watching and Have a great day. Bye.